Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the train. This is Big Condor Online, and my name is John Durrant from My Spiritual Link. And this evening I've got with me Martin Colclough.
Good evening.
From tsfellowship.com.
Yes.
And Martin, you've been with us before.
Yes.
Very interesting it was too. Martin, today what I'd like to talk about, I know that you've launched a set of courses called TS Fellowship, and that you've just been given an additional level, I understand. You're now up to level 3?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a different qualification.
What's the qualification at level 3?
It's to teach the teachers.
Ah, great. Train the trainer course.
Train the trainers.
Brilliant. First of all, though, tell me about your courses. These are courses in mediumship and so on, and healing, and what are they about, Martin? You tell me.
Well, we've got 10 courses, 5 at level 2 and 5 at level 3, and they're accredited through an awarding body whose name is Focus Awards, and they're for mediumship, spiritual healing, working in the altered states within mediumship, inspirational speaking, and religious and life philosophy.
Right, now I'm sure everybody knows about mediumship and everybody knows about healing. What is working in altered states in mediumship?
Well, to get the awarding body to look at us in a serious way, we call it working in the altered states, but most mediums, people within the realms of spiritualism and mediumship, would know it as trans-mediumship.
Trans-mediumship?
Yes.
Can you tell me what you define as trans, as in trans-mediumship?
Well, I call it trans-mediumship.
Yeah, but how do you define that? What is it?
It's where the medium goes into an altered state, as the title says. And in the older school, they call it a spirit comes close and controls the medium. In the book that I gave you last time we were here,
yeah.
I don't know if you've read it, but you'll see that I
have read some of it, yeah. I haven't finished it, but I've read a lot of it, yeah.
Good. I call it cooperation. And more people are starting to call it, not just because I put it in my book, but when you speak to people, more people are saying they call it cooperation.
So, go on.
It's where someone from the spirit world draws close, the medium allows them into their energy field that we know as we call the aura, and the control then uses the facilities of the medium, the voice, to speak to people.
Okay, so where does that leave the medium? Where does that leave the person if they're being controlled like that?
You can likely do a hypnotic state.
Okay, so in actual fact, I am a hypnotherapist,
yes.
And I know that when you actually hypnotise somebody, they won't do anything that they don't really want to do.
That's correct.
So these people you see leaping about on stage eating onions as if they're apples are actually enjoying their 15 minutes of fame.
Yes.
Now, is this a similar kind of thing with mediums? Because I've seen some mediums in a so-called trance state where they are, I'm trying to choose my words carefully and I can't find any, to be honest.
A few images in my head myself.
Okay.
Things I've seen similar.
Yeah, okay, so there are some people who, a bit like hypnotised people, are finding their 15 minutes of fame.
Yes.
Okay, so would you say then that you need to put on a different voice or have a different look about you or contort your face into some ridiculous...
Usually when the voice changes, it's an impression by the medium of how they're inspired to speak by that person. Doesn't mean it's the exact voice of the person. But let's say you have a Chinese guide, there's no need to spit rice to prove you've got a Chinese guide.
Okay. I have seen people, I'm just imagining, I have just seen people spitting rice all everywhere. I have heard of, and actually heard myself, people speaking in a language which they don't understand.
Yeah. Or speaking a foreign language.
Yeah. That
can happen. I've spoken German myself. I'm aware of a case where a lady was on a trans course, a trans-mediumship course, and there was a Danish lady on the course, and her father came through, and the medium in the trance state brought through the father, and he spoke perfect Danish. but she's never done it since.
So
So
she's
it's-
not a Danish speaker.
She's not a Danish speaker, no, she was an English lady.
Brilliant. This is very similar to the biblical thing of speaking in tongues, I suppose.
Well, I think that's been mistranslated.
Go on.
When they said speaking in tongues, I don't think it was a separate language. I think they meant the language of the places where the disciples, for want of a better word, would go. I don't think it was this that I've seen. Not to upset anybody in their religions. But
Okay, fine. No, we don't want to upset anybody in their religions, but
yeah.
giving a bit of a prod every now and again is not necessarily a bad thing. They prod spiritualists enough, so... However, let's move on from there then. So that's the trance state.
Yeah.
The next one you were talking about was inspired speaking
Inspirational speaking.
in public.
Yes.
Now, for me, I mean, a TED talk is inspired speaking or inspirational speaking. What do you mean by inspirational speaking?
Well, when I was designing the course, they said there was already courses on public speaking.
Mhm.
And basically, the inspirational speaking course is to get people not to speak about spiritualism or mediumship. The actual subject they can speak about can be anything. And it was to take them away from the fear of speaking in public. So it covers the fears of public speaking, the guidelines of public speaking. They have to prepare an impromptu talk, where they have a short time to prepare, and then they deliver it using the principles that we've put in the workbook. And then they have to prepare a longer talk, where they've had time to prepare the talk, to choose a subject. But we've had people talk about your line of work, which is in the caring industry.
Mhm.
We've had people talk about all kinds of things.
So, I'm sorry about that, I'll just
You're right.
pouring water down my chin, you know.
Yeah,
Well,
there's a little hole in your lip actually.
It's not just that's an age thing, you know. What I was going to ask you was, when you talk about inspired speaking, is that inspired by somebody we can't see, or is that to inspire the people that you're speaking to?
It's more to inspire the people you're speaking to, because inspired speaking can be from different places. It can be something that you've seen, it can be from your higher self, the spirit world. If you want to go as high as possible, the creative force that many people call God. So you can be inspired at different levels. But the idea of inspirational speaking is to inspire your listeners.
Okay, you've just taken me back one there. That's quite interesting. So in other words, is this a sermon?
No.
You said that very abrupt. No.
Well, I'm going back to my examples that I've been given of sermons, where the minister or the priest has written it all down, needs reading from it. What they usually do in a spiritualist church is, when they're doing inspirational speaking, they can pick up on the reading that someone's done. They might have just thought of a few sentences before they get there, or the beginning and the end, and then when they're there, the inspiration flows, and they can. Some people can talk for forever.
Days, yes, I know. I have experienced
20
that.
minutes usually is
20 minutes?
a good limit. Yeah.
Okay. So is this what the spiritualist churches often call the philosophy?
The philosophy, yeah,
Yeah, okay.
which would be
Okay.
spiritual philosophy. We teach both kinds, spiritual and life philosophy.
Right, okay. Would you like to give me a bit more information on that, please?
Well, it's a non-denominational training company, so that means anybody, I wouldn't say an agnostic or a non-believer, because you have to believe there's a spirit world, but it's non-denominational. So we allow them to speak on either their religious philosophy, which could be Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, Taoism, Zennism, all the other religions,
Or the other
or they can
reasons?
speak on their life philosophy, which is things that's happened to them.
Yeah, I saw a very interesting and quite inspirational talk given by an imam on YouTube,
Yeah.
where he spoke about Easter,
Yes.
and I learned more about Easter and about the rising of Christ, etc., from him, a Muslim, than ever I learned in the Christian church.
Yes.
It was very, very interesting. It wasn't in the least bit angry or accusative or anything of that nature. It's just purely an illumination of what Easter was all about.
Yeah.
I thought it was brilliant. I at last understand why we have Easter eggs and bunnies, which I didn't understand before.
Well, we have Romans because the Romans introduced them to this country.
Yes, well,
It's
yeah.
indigenous to the country.
Yeah, exactly. And now the final thing that you've got in your the things that you illustrated there was about I've forgotten what was the last one.
Religious and life philosophy.
Religious and life philosophy. But so that's different from speaking, inspirational speaking.
No, because you can inspire people with your philosophy.
Okay, right. Well, I've obviously mixed this up then, because I got it that the last two courses that you were doing, one was inspirational speaking, the other one was life philosophy.
Because we couldn't call it public speaking, so we called it inspirational speaking. Keep up with me, John.
I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. Okay, okay. So, in 3 levels or just 2 levels?
2 levels at the moment.
So level 2 and level 3, or level 1 and level 2?
Level 2 and 3.
Okay, okay. And that gives you 10 in all.
Yes.
Interesting. And how do people go about doing these courses?
Well, they can go to the website on tsfellowship.org at present, but we're in the process of creating a new website.
Okay.
But if they go to tsfellowship.org and they look at what we offer, it explains all about the courses, what the learning outcomes are, the aims, the objectives.
Okay.
Because they set out very similar to the courses that you would get on the qualification network.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I've been involved in those sort of courses previously, and I know that at Big Condo they actually offer a whole range of courses in a particular field,
Yeah.
which is music and film and so on, performance. So really, it's the same. I was going to say it's the same thing, but it isn't obviously. But it's the same, similar idea.
They're laid out as a professional course.
Brilliant. Why do you think we need a professional course in spiritualism?
It's from when I first became a spiritualist, I felt that we needed to be recognised properly. And I know in the past that lots of people have tried, and they've always bolted spiritualist courses onto other things, like an English course, so they bolt something onto that, so that you got the English course to say an MVQ, and then the organisations course bolted onto it. These are standalone.
So you got a qualification in English,
In English, basically.
but then you
Yes.
studied the other bit, and the fact is that it perhaps been
Yeah.
paid for by the English course or whatever.
There's thousands of professional mediums, not only in this country, but throughout the world. And none of them got a qualification.
I thought there were qualifications by the SNU?
There's awards in the SNU.
That's
And we
different.
discussed this last time.
We did, but not to any great extent. Not in any real
Well, an
depth.
award is from an internal organisation. And I hold many of the SNU's awards, and a minister of the SNU, and they're very good awards. But if you leave the SNU, the awards stay with the SNU.
Okay. So really what you're saying is here's an award which has got nothing to do with any particular body except the body who are awarding it.
Yeah.
That it is a standalone, that this is yours, you can have it, away you go.
Yeah.
Why do we need it?
Because there's a lot of people out there who do no formal training. And would you trust a doctor who had no formal training? I think to bring respectability to spiritualism and to mediumship, because we're ridiculed by lots of the other religions. You'll often see on the television, we preying on the needy, and I'm not saying we want to regulate it or I want to regulate it, but I've always thought that if the medium had a professional qualification that they could show to people, it's like the British kite mark.
Okay. Is that going to stop, do you think, mediums perhaps pushing things a bit too far? Or are they going to say, look, I've got a qualification so I can do this?
No, because it's not in the qualification that you can mess about. and they have to still do a continuous professional development plan
Ah,
and show us what they're doing once every 12 months, which is not a lot to ask. If you're a member of some of the technical bodies, you have to do your CPD every 3 months or every 6 months.
okay, so we're not just simply talking about here's an award, off you go.
No.
What we're actually saying is here's an award. Now then, this is how you keep it updated.
Yeah.
This is how you stay on top of this. And are you going to? I'm going to use the word police, but are you going to police that?
Well, we email them. Each person that passes, we email them, tell them your CPD is due.
So the police are going to email me and say, please stop
That's
it in
not the
that.
police, is it?
No. But you are. Would you consider going to visit this person if they were, or some of these people if they were actually doing something somewhere?
Well, we wouldn't know that unless somebody
Reported it.
reported and said one of your qualification holders is doing the same as a nurse. If a nurse does something wrong, the Royal College of Nurses.
So this is, we're getting more and more interesting now, because it seems that it's not just a matter of here's a qualification. It is a matter of we're going to keep an eye on everybody, and I presume that they can come back to you for questions and assistance.
You can come for assistance, further qualifications.
Had further qualifications, yes. Had you considered having perhaps an annual meeting?
Not yet, because the company isn't big enough.
Okay.
Although we've been going nearly 5 years, 3 years of that was getting qualified, getting the courses recognised by an awarding body. That was the hardest part.
Can we just underline that for a minute?
Yeah.
Been going 5 years, and the first 3 years of that was spent finding and getting an awarding body to stand behind you
To recognise us.
and to recognise it.
Yeah.
And that must have taken quite a bit of work to do that.
It was hard work.
Yeah.
The times I felt like giving up, but then because it's always been a dream, I didn't want to give up. I had to keep pressing and pushing and pushing.
I know it's been a dream, because it must be 8 years now, 9 years
When we first
since
met.
we first met and originally discussed this.
Yeah.
And I remember then we looked at, well, I looked with you at one or two of the awarding bodies, and then I thought this is just not going to go anywhere,
Yeah.
because it was so difficult, because they just don't want to know.
Yeah.
Tell me something. Two things. One is we've had a couple of people on here. One person is a celebrant. We had a celebrant on here, and she'd gone through a full qualification to become a celebrant. Is that part and parcel, or something which?
We have been asked if we do that, but I don't know. It's not something I've checked on yet as to whether that's run by the local registry offices and things like that, because they're trained to carry out the services in a particular way.
Yeah,
It's
they
not
are.
something I've researched at the moment.
Okay. I suppose this is very similar to things like being a chairman, or what's the guy who, an MC or something of that nature. Yeah, okay, I get that.
But celebrants usually do the births,
Marriages and
not
deaths.
births.
No, they're
Namings,
not usually involved. They're called midwives, actually.
namings, marriages and funerals.
Okay. When we are looking at those things, how does this work in with? I've seen other areas where you can actually apply to become a minister. You mentioned about being a minister,
Yeah.
where you can apply to becoming a minister, and provided that you're enough people say you're a nice enough person, you can become a minister.
Yeah.
Well, that seems to me that that's rather reducing the importance of ministry.
Well, I've researched that, and as long as you're a member of an organisation that ordains ministers, they can ordain ministers.
Simple as that.
Yeah, you can become that.
So why is it then that if I want to become a Catholic priest, or if I want to become a minister of the church, I've got to go and get qualifications and things?
Now you're touching on why I wanted qualifications for mediums. Because they're professional people. And if we're truly professional, there's some fantastic mediums out there who probably never want a qualification, ever. But I think if we showed people that we do learn, we do structured education, that people would take spiritualism more seriously. Not just spiritualism, but mediumship in general.
Okay.
More serious.
And especially things like healing and so on as well.
Yeah.
I know from my own experience that inspirational speaking, I don't mean in a necessarily a trance state, but simply being inspired to say certain things to people, not necessarily giving a message as such, but just inspiring them to move forward. I know that works. I know that if you're in a church and you say the things that need to be said in the right way, that they're in that church, some people will get a message.
Yes.
Everybody gets a message,
yeah.
if you get your inspirational talk correct.
Well, that's the reason we have the inspirational speaking course, is so that people not only speak well as the speaker, but they speak well as the medium.
So, is this a teaching course as such, or is it a what's the word I'm looking for? Is it more just I can't think of the word.
Correspondence?
No.
E-course?
No, is it more a matter of, is it not, this isn't so much teaching somebody as much as recognising them and recognising their abilities.
Yeah.
So,
in all the courses there's 5 learning outcomes.
Okay.
Sorry, 5 objectives, then with different amount of learning outcomes against each objective.
So how do you go about doing this? Is it all written? Is it recorded? Is it... Okay.
And they can either do it online and they send videos, as long as the video meets the criteria that there must be an audience of a minimum of 10 to 15 people at level 2, 15 to 20 people at level 3.
I presume these can't be a load of your mates?
No.
Okay.
We can't police that, we don't know if they are mates or not, but you trust them that most people that send them videos are doing them as they're doing a service, where they get permission.
Okay. And what happens then? Do you look at these and decide that they are doing the job right or doing the job wrong?
I look at them, but my wife Stephanie, who's sitting over there, is one of the
Hello,
assessors.
Stephanie sitting over there.
Hello.
She's one of the assessors.
Yeah.
So she will assess it, but my qualification is to assess Stephanie assessing properly. It's called sampling. So she might assess 10 students, and then through the year I will sample some of the things that she's assessed to ensure that the quality.
So you're an
throughout.
IQA basically.
IQA, yes.
Right. So sampling you see in this place means something just a little bit different.
I'm sure.
And that guy sitting over there behind the camera actually understands sampling far better and in a far different way.
So mixed biscuits, and he samples the biscuits.
Yes, I think we have music in mind, but still, that's okay. That's okay. Martin, as we go, as you go further into this, where do you see this going?
I can't tell you the next step at the moment, but the next, go on, Alan. The next step is to become an awarding body yourself.
Ah, that's quite acceptable as being the next step. But you go.
But that's always been the ultimate objective, is to become the awarding body, because then you offer your own awards. You don't need another awarding body to offer.
No, I understand that totally. I understand that totally. Having worked in the training environment, I know how all that works.
So when I go with the whole journey, well, as you know, it's been 10 years basically, but 5 years as I've tried to put it into practice.
But an awarding body that's quite a thing to do.
With you dot the T's and cross the I, whatever it is, dot the I's and cross the T's.
Or whatever. And it would be brilliant, wouldn't it? Absolutely brilliant.
And if we can get that, we can write courses at each level until ultimately, hopefully, there'd be a degree or a master's or a PhD in spiritualism.
Let's face it, you can go to university and study religion, and you can go and study Christianity, or you can study various different things and have a degree in that area and become a priest or a vicar or whatever. I think that would be absolutely brilliant. Can you imagine that at college or at a university somewhere, Oxford offering a degree in spiritualism? Would it not be possible to since there are many sort of courses and qualifications in religious philosophy,
Yeah.
that spiritualism couldn't or shouldn't be in there?
I'm not sure whether it's in it because it's not something I've looked at. But there's no reason it shouldn't be in there because they're now in the Multi-Faith Association, recognised.
Yeah.
We went to the cenotaph, the president of the SNU went to the cenotaph last year on Remembrance
Yes,
Day.
he did, didn't he?
So we're getting more recognition. We're accepted in hospitals, prisons.
But do you think that, like other organised religions, one of the things that's been attractive to a lot of people about spiritualism is that it isn't organised as such. It's not like becoming a Catholic or whatever, or a Muslim or a Jew and having to do certain rituals and certain things.
Yeah.
It is much freer.
National Spiritualism is surely.
National Spiritualism is?
Yeah. The SNU, they have no dogmas or creeds.
No, but they're still now becoming, what I'm trying to say is, now they've been recognised and they are part of the group, is there a chance that they might start to become more dogmatic?
I wouldn't say so.
It should
You've got to stick to your own principles.
Which is one of the 7.
They haven't tried to change the other religions, so why would they try to change spiritualism?
That wasn't what I was thinking. I was thinking more in terms of, since they're now in the club, they might start adopting some of the club's attitudes.
I don't know.
I would hope not.
I'm not the multi-faith.
It is a rhetorical question. It is a rhetorical question. I mean, I'd hate to see that happen as well, because I think spiritualism is, people say it is inspired and inspirational, but I have to say that being able to take a course and being able to be recognised for what you're good at, I think that is really to be applauded. It's quite an excellent thing.
I think it's, well, I'm bound to think it's a good idea.
I was going to say, you've got to think it's a good idea.
At times I felt it's needed, and without decrying any mediums, but they're not all of the same standard.
No, they're not. No, they're not. And this will give them a certain level.
But if they studied, it would show them what we feel is expected. And if anybody's done the courses and they say you should change this, then we've changed it to what they've said.
Okay.
Not because they've changed it for the sake of changing it, but we've accepted ideas from some very experienced mediums who've done the courses.
And it looks like this is the way it would be useful for it to be.
And at level 3, the mediums that have taken it are quite experienced and have said how challenging it is.
Oh,
so
right.
if I'm challenging people who've been mediums for 20, 30 years, then I'm doing my job.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you. We are approaching a platform now, so I'm sorry, but you're going to have to get off. Martin, thank you very much for being here. Where can people go to find out about the courses and get the information?
www.tsfellowship.org.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for coming on the train.
You're welcome.
And thank you very much for watching. This is the train, and it's on Big Condor Online, and you can find us on Facebook under Big Condor Online, or you can find us on YouTube. And thank you very much, and good night.